welcome you to our town. Lynn, what do you think makes Ellerbe special?
Our people. That's what it boils down to. We have a relaxed lifestyle, but everything revolves around the people. There's thousands of towns this size, but I don't think the majority of them have the kind of close-knitness that we have.
Ellerbe had a wife, she got tired of his life, 'cause Ruby never had no home. Oh me, oh my, it was a blowing miles.
How would you describe Ellerbe to someone who's never been here?
Well, of course, I'm biased in my opinion. I think Ellerbe is one of the finest places in the world. I think it's a usual or normal small rural town in North Carolina. But I want to talk something about the people here. I talk to a lot of people, and I find a lot of people who don't realize how much the people changed Ellerbe. Now, I remember back in the 1930s, when we had a real immigrant influx in Ellerbe. I bet you don't even know what that is. But it's somebody, some of your grandparents were one of these people, learned that this is a good tobacco country. And all the big farmers started bringing tobacco farmers from the foothills of the mountains and in the mountains to grow tobacco. And I think this had a very positive effect on the Ellerbe and the surrounding area. These were good, hard-working people, honest, likable, but they were not. In fact, I think they even changed some of the culture.
The farmers had used to producing corn, cotton, and things like that, and the tobacco was introduced in here about in the late 30s, with tenant farmers moving in out of the mountain counties and getting down here to this good sand land to produce the tobacco. And the sand land produces an excellent quality of tobacco, bright leaf tobacco. And it moved on from the tenant farmer to, he made enough money to make a down payment on a farm, and he started farming on his own. And we don't have tenant farmers anymore. We just have. My father worked on the highway, and my mother and the children kept the farm going. And we farmed about 100 acres of cotton and some peaches and tobacco and things like that. But there's been don't have the small farms now, you've got large farms. So there's been a big change in the farming as well as in the town part. I can remember when everybody would come to town on Saturday night, and the streets would be full of people. I mean, loaded. And the stores would stay open until about 10, 11 o'clock at night, because that's when the farmers came in and did their shopping, grocery shopping and things like that.
The only thing that was paved was, Main Street, 220, and everything else was dirt roads around here. And out where I live on East Main Street out there, when I was going to school, I come to Ellerbe to school when I was in the 4th grade. And everything out where I live, out there where my house and several more, there was a corn patch.
It's changed a lot in the last 90 years. Ellerbe used to be a vigorous town. We had 2 hardwares, 2 or 3 grocery stores, and drugstore, and banks, and since the automobile came along, people have been able to go somewhere else, to do shopping and stuff like that. But I remember my father had a cotton gin and a flour mill and a corn mill up where our warehouse is now, behind it. And that burned in 1947, but and there was Clarence Parsons had that sold fertilizer out of that place where the heating and air conditioning is now. And they sold, we had 2 tractor dealers back then, three. Mr. Nance sold them at Nance Hardware, and Carricker, can't think of his name, I've known it all my life. He sold Fords, and Preacher Sugg and Mr. Stansel sold John Deere tractors.
Well, I can remember when every store building here had a business in it. It had what they call general stores, meat markets, grocery stores, and some clothing stores, and restaurants, small, called them cafes back then. And you could get a hot dog and a drink for 10 cents. So that's a big change.
Well, I would tell them it's a nice, small, rural area. A lot of things to be done and a lot of things to see, and very exciting, very friendly people. Just people who would go out of their way to help you make the best of your life, and just a nice little country town, which I'm very proud of. Well, in Ellerbe, everything was segregated. The schools were segregated. We had a white school, Ellerbe High School, and I graduated from Ellerbe Colored High School. And we had in the town, we're not as treated like the whites. We walk uptown, and if a white was coming down the streets, we had to get out the way and let them go past. And of course, we had no restroom facilities. You couldn't use the rest. Everything was segregated. We didn't have a restaurant here. I tell you what we did here, which was very interesting. Years ago, we didn't have a movie theater, but they would bring a tent, and they would show the old Western movies. And we would come and get a chance to see those old Western movies right downtown Ellerbe there. And that was very exciting and interesting. Of course, we had to sit on one side while the whites sat on the other side, but at least we got a chance to come out and enjoy. But practically everything was just segregated. We got the schools, we got second-handed books. We had few supplies to work with, but we did the best that we could with what we had, because we had a great high school teacher, S.B.T. Eastland, which always instilled within us that you can be somebody, you can hold your head up. And that's why I went to college, and that's why I am where I am today, because of my mother, my Heavenly Father, and my high school principal and the teachers.
Like there, as far
Ellerbe
as the
Colored High
teachers?
School went from the 1st grade to the 11th grade. We graduated in the 11th grade. We did not have the 12th grade at that time. We did not have kindergarten either. But we stayed in the same school from the 1st grade all the way to the 11th grade. And we had a little department for the smaller kids, and we didn't have no lunchroom because there were no lunches. We had to bring our lunch to school, and I was always jealous of the principal's daughter because she could always have a bologna sandwich, and I had crackers, and I used to say, when I grow up, I'm going to get me a bologna sandwich. But anyway, but we had good teachers, and like I said, Miss Easton just instilled, we had a basketball team, we had a drama club, and everybody in the school had to join the basketball team. Everybody, high school, everybody had to join the drama team, the drama club. Whatever we had, we just did it together. It was just like one big happy family.
I've enjoyed living in Ellerbe. We just had a good time. I just enjoyed living here. And everything was, well, lovely. That's all I can say. Ellerbe's a nice place to live. It's a nice town.
What kind of stuff did y'all do for fun growing up?
Oh, we played. Well, where I lived on 220, there was always a tobacco field behind my house. Where the apartments are now, those were tobacco fields. And we would romp and roam through the tobacco fields, and under the road there is a tunnel. We'd go through the tunnel. We'd climb trees and swing like Tarzan and sing and play, and just the neighborhood kids just got together and had a good time. We grew up as a neighborhood family instead of just one individual family, so I really enjoyed it. I was the class of 1969, and that was the first year of total integration. 67 was the year of choice. I didn't choose to go to Ellerbe because I was always at Mineral Springs, but by my senior year I had no choice, and so I graduated Ellerbe High School, and I'm one of those people that can adapt easily. Well, my parents always taught me if you can't do anything about change, you learn to adapt to the change. And that's what I did. When I went over there to some, it was lemons, but I took the lemons and made lemonade. I enjoyed my senior year just as much as I did my first day of school as first grade. We didn't have kindergarten there. So it was enjoyable to me. I enjoyed the change. And since then, it's still, Ellerbe's just out to me, and I always tell people, to me, Ellerbe was not really a segregated town per se, because we've always just dealt with people. And that's where my family brought me up, that whoever it is, you just treat people like people. And that's where my life has always been, so I can adapt easily to change.
What was it like here for you growing up?
It was fun. It was, well, I can remember clearly when we had no sidewalks. I guess the sidewalks that were put in probably during FDR's administration. I remember how proud I felt when we had sidewalks. And I don't really remember, but I have some pictures with me and my mother and brother in our front yard, and the highway was not even paved yet. So that was probably in the 20s. There was a picture section in the Sunday New York Times featuring our school. We had an outstanding school the whole time I was there. And that was another interest of my father. He was on the local school board for years. Ellerbe had its own school board. Each community did, I suppose. My father was a family doctor. The only one here for many years, but then my mother's brother came back. He started out in Charlotte as a family doctor also. And he and my father shared a waiting room for years until my uncle retired. And my father kept working. He was even older than my uncle. He didn't know how not to work. He loved his practice. And my mother was just a homebody, a full-time mother, but she was very active in the community, particularly the school. He made house calls even in the middle of the night. And he really enjoyed making house calls. I don't think he would have been happy sitting in the office all day long. We'd have people coming in the middle of the night yelling, "Hey, Doc," from the sidewalk. We had a German police dog for years, and they were afraid of him, and so they'd stand out on the sidewalk in the middle of the night and yell.
To see, you know, as we near our 100th anniversary, what would you like to see for Ellerbe in the next 100 years?
I hope it doesn't lose its sense of uniqueness or closeness among the citizens. I would like to see us grow a little bit. We need some more business, we need some more jobs, but we don't need any explosive growth. We need something that we can maintain, keep the infrastructure up for. I want to see growth. You either go forward or you go backwards. You don't stand still. But we don't need to jump out and boom all of a sudden. We got to have controlled growth, and that's what I envision for our town.
Thank you.
Don't you remember on that rocky mountainside?